Oh dear. Oh dear. It's here. What have I done? It's here and it's huge. Oh, good Lord. What have I done?
Hello and welcome to the Monster Painter, and this time I'm gonna show you a miniature mega bargain, and boy is this one heavy duty. Oh boy. This bargain is readily available from a James Bond villain who just rented the entire city of Venice for the weekend. With a few clicks, you can have Bardsung for a mere $79 Canadian, shipping and taxes included. Bardsung was launched as a very successful Kickstarter a few years ago. I believe it went for around $200 Canadian, plus another $50 for shipping and taxes, but you did get the stretch goals box. It hit retail with a price around, I think, $125 US dollars, and today it's much cheaper. The game is well reviewed with a good system, but is said to be a little grindy. I guess it did not really catch on because now we're buying the thing cheap enough to rate it for just the miniatures.
It's a seriously big box. It's too big for my table, my light box. But, I can open it up here on the floor and let's find out what, oh no, what the wonderful ultra bargain that okay, I spent $80 including shipping, 80 Canadian dollars on this. This gigantic, I'm kind of surprised at just how big this box really is. And what? It contains another box. Granted, it's a slightly, oh my god, oh my lord, slightly smaller box, but somehow it manages to feel heavier. I guess it's sort of denser. So yeah, Bardsung, Legend of the Ancient Forge. About 3 years ago, Dave, my buddy Dave, had backed the Kickstarter, and he got it in the mail, and we did an unboxing back then. I believe he paid quite a bit for it. Monster for 80 Canadian dollars. Oh, look at that. Ooh, stuff. Pieces of paper, boards. Ooh, but here's what we're after: the miniatures. Yeah. We're going to take a closer look at the miniatures in just a couple of seconds. Okay, this big box of a board game dungeon crawler is going to contain a bunch of things that are of no use to us as miniature gamers not interested in this particular game. One of them includes the great big board, infamously enormous board. And then we move on to what is called the Legend of Ancient Forge. So this is the adventure book. Oh, okay. The adventure book. Well, you know, you might be able to use it for inspiration for some homebrewed adventures. And of course, since we don't plan to be playing the game, the rule book isn't going to be much use. That goes without saying. And then it also includes a whole bunch of these vacuum form little container trays. I guess these are for your characters, right? You would put all the little tokens and cards associated with your character in these, and then you're able to play the campaign. They're kind of nice. I might be able to figure out some utility for them, but as it stands, playing my miniature agnostic games like Frostgrave, that stuff isn't going to be particularly useful. Now again, being a well-produced dungeon crawler, this game comes with whole bunches of cards. I guess these are the monster cards. Maybe a little bit of use there, but then there's ever numbers of cards. I mean, the game is not short on cards. Again, unless you're going to play the game, these aren't all that useful, although, you know, the imaginative and the creative amongst you, which I would hope there are plenty of imaginative, creative people watching this channel, would be able to figure out some uses for these, you know, homebrewing it for some purpose. And of course, I mean, we get a whole bunch of item cards, and I like item cards, and they're more easily made into useful things if you're not going to play the game. And good lord, I mean, really, this game is truly well produced. I mean, I can't believe I got it for $79. All of this stuff that I am not even going to use is a pretty good value at $79. Amazing. So something that has some use for those people who like their dungeon crawlers. There are a whole mess of dungeon tiles there, and a lot of tokens, but I think the dungeon tiles are probably the more exciting of the two. You can definitely you know, get some use out of those. I don't do a lot of dungeon crawling these days, but that, you know, can always change. And there are a ton of these interesting, beautifully illustrated dungeon tiles. So they definitely have at least some potential. So something that gamers can always use, of course, is more dice, and we get a really nice set of dungeon or dragon dice, and they're pretty good. They're not exciting. They're black, although the 20-sided dice has the Bardsung logo on it. And I mean, they're good dice, and the goblin always wants more math rocks. Yes, yes, yes. So obviously I did not spend $79 for a bunch of cards and dungeon tiles and dice that aren't very exciting. I bought it for the miniatures, which we got 3 trays of them. This is tray number 1, and I have to say right off the bat, 68 miniatures for $79 Canadian, taxes and shipping included. A fantastic bargain, clocking in at around $1.20 a model, making this a super big bargain. But the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. So let's take a good look at these models and to determine if they were worth it at all. All right, and we're going to start off with the orange models, the player character models, and then we got a wizard here. She's a little tall. Her base is a little thick. She's a bit big, you know. She's a little taller than our classic barbarian, but still well within scale. She looks like a wizard zapping someone with her shotgun magic staff. And she shares a haircut style with this dwarven, dual-wielding dwarven lady who, yeah, you know, the mohawk always reminds me of that 90s proliferation of the mohawk in Games Workshop. Every model seemed to have a mohawk back then. And we got a lady cleric. She looks really holy and vengeful. And then the best 2 of the hero models are easily the little crowman, tengu thief type. I'm gonna love this one. I'm definitely gonna get her painted up, or him painted up. And then a turtle or a tortoise wizard guy. Oh wow. So we're off to a great start. These are already showing themselves to be quality miniatures and some great characters. So, of course, what dungeon crawler would be complete without some goblins and orcs? And the goblins have a real novel design. I think the goblins, maybe these are the orcs. They're kind of tall for goblins, but they got big ears. Orcs don't even usually have ears. At any rate, this menacing fellow, we get no less than 6 of the guys, and that's a pretty good set. Again, You know, that's a fair number of duplicates, but not outrageous. And then we get this this sneaky goblin fellow with a hook. He looks really unpleasant. Oh no, it's not a hook. It's a goblin archer. Another classic, absolutely necessary dungeon crawl monster, fantasy friend, frequent. Gotta have them. And yeah, the quality of the sculpts is really good. They are high quality. They are way better than Path miniatures or Wildspire miniatures, which are a similar price point. They are at least as good as Reaper models, which are more expensive unless you buy the Kickstarter. Ooh, and we have a great big novel goblin orky big-eared fellows with some nice big swords, looking dangerous. Yeah, they might not be as good as Games Workshop models, but they are fantastically cheaper than them. Of course, with orcs, you gotta have some heavy hitters, and these guys, while they got crazy bunny ears, they are pretty badass looking orcs, viable as black orcs. We only get 2 of them. I prefer to have unique models rather than duplicates, but I'll take duplicates. And these 2 guys look very scary. I think the barbarian would be thinking twice about facing both of them. And then we get this little villainous little guy. He looks nice and creepy and evil, and he's preparing to cut you if you take his hand, you know. And he's a unique model and a little sleazy villain. This stuff is looking great. So good so far. Okay. And it keeps going. We get the ever so useful a set of 4 Dwarven miners. And, you know, whenever you run into dwarves, you should run into some Dwarven miners, though they're kind of the most dangerous of low-level NPCs. And these are pretty good. I mean, they're solid Dwarven miners for sure. And we got a female, I think it's a female Dwarven warrior, still sporting the mohawk, so still got that 90s charm. And the old Grognard loves old 90s stuff, and I'm a long-lost punk rocker, so I have a fondness for mohawks. And we get 3 of these warrior women with their battle axes ready to keep on fighting. Some of the haircut choices I'm a little more dubious. We get this this Dwarven fellow, Dwarven crossbowman, but wow, dude, I think you really ought to sue your barber, because that is one bad haircut, dude. Oh well, he's still gonna be a menace on the tabletop. 3 Dwarven crossbowmen, and I can always use more crossbowmen. So in bargain sets, sometimes they're, you know, advertising like, oh, you get 1,000,000 models, or, you know, 50 models for $50, and the details aren't great, but these details are fantastic. And sometimes, you know, the discount minis, they're, you know, you get 64 of them in a set, but some of them are pretty small, like teeny tiny things. But these dwarves are about the smallest ones we get, and they are of a reasonable size. These 2, 3, 4 lady soldiers are pretty good and convincing. And then we get, yeah, you know me, love my Frostgrave, so wizardy types are always welcome, pointing the way to zapification. And then we get, I guess maybe he's the Dwarven King or the Dwarven Chaos Warrior, but he does look like a badass. And yeah, I think he will make a good Chaos Dwarf now that I've said it out loud. Yeah, this set is awesome. Details, quality of the miniatures are fantastic. This is a real mega bargain, folks. All right, now that is it for the, you know, player character adjacent human-y types, and we're getting into what the monster painter loves, which is of course monsters. And we got some very good looking, a set of 4 earth elementals, you know, not necessarily the most exciting of models. Earth elementals are pretty easy to source, but they're really good looking Earth elementals. Then we get you know, an undead monstrosity of some sort, a wraith, very scary looking. Again, you know, not earth-shakingly exciting, a really good model, but you know, undead monsters are relatively common and easy enough to find. But then the imagination sparks and we get this two-headed shadow demon type monster, and we don't just get one, we get 1, 2, go 3, 4 of the terrifying nightmare creatures. I mean, I love it. He's a real nightmare monster, and I'm really liking this bargain. Look at those. Fantastic set of monsters, and there's so much more to come. Okay, now we're getting into some of the real candy here, and we get ourselves this big, badass berserking bugbear. Oh, and we don't just get one, we get 3 of the brawny galoots. Yeah, the sculpt, the pose is a little odd, a little awkward, I think, because he looks like he's gonna trip over that big old stone that he's leaping over, but that's okay. He's so dynamic. We won't fault him for that. And then what? He's got a buddy, a bugbear archer. What a terrifying thought! That guy could pull a lot of pounds, and those arrows could go a long way. Clearly, though, the arrows suffer from pool noodle weapon syndrome and will require a little bit of hot water, but that's an easy fix. 3 big badass bugbear archers and 3 badass berserking bugbears, and there's still more to come. And these are the last of the duplicates. From now on, everything is going to be a unique model, which is, you know, ever increasingly awesome. All right, we get more bugbears. You don't see dancing bugbear wizards, shaman types very often, but this bugbear is doing his dance, and he's gonna zap some people real soon. And you gotta love it. I always like bugbears, and kind of need leadership, and that's what this set delivers. We got a bugbear shaman and what is clearly the bugbear boss. The bases look a little small for them, and they're a little tippy, but I ain't gonna rebase them. And that's awesome. Bugbear power couple. Now we also were getting some you know, classic tropes. That is one big giant rat, though. I mean, truly a rodent of unusual size. That's huge, much scarier than a regular giant rat. And of course, where there's a giant rat, there should also be giant spiders, and that's a nice big giant spider with a really nice dynamic pose. He's a scary looking, interesting looking spider, but you know what's scarier than a giant spider is a giant spider that's being ridden by some crazy psychopathic dude. I mean, wow, dude, you have one crazy ride. That is that's insane. I wouldn't want to run into him in a dusty old dungeon for sure. But Bardsung is not finished yet. We get some very classic looking, classic Dungeons and Dragons monster. This is the Bardsung take on the Rust monster. Usually, I think off-brand Rust monsters are called Oxidation Beasts. We'll call him an Oxidation Beast, and he's a really lovely, effective sculpt. I like the tusks instead of the tentacle thing. And then another classic D&D monster, a gelatinous cube. A lot of detail on this gelatinous cube, all sorts of things sticking out of him and skeletons and stuff. He's been a hungry one, and that's a scary looking cube for sure. And then is this a carrion crawler or a grill or you know, pretty normal kind of dungeon fare, the big wormy bug horror monster. Yeah, and beautiful sculpts, very convincing renditions of these for sure. Now, of course, Dungeons and Dragons classics continue, but these are as much folkloric classics. A very convincing, very imposing big old ogre. He looks very ogre-y and unpleasant, and he's going to hit you with that club for sure. And then we got his half-witted, two-headed brother, the Etten, another folkloric monster that is a Dungeons and Dragons standard creature. I'll probably be using him as a two-headed snow troll in Frostgrave, because I don't think I have a lot of those. And then a more IP-ish kind of terror monster of Dungeons and Dragons, the Hook Horror. This Hook Horror is, holy mackerel, horrible, scary, wonderful sculpt, terrifying monster of epic proportion. Scare the pants off your player characters with that guy. There's so much here. I actually almost missed a great big classic Dungeons and Dragons monster. This is a very menacing, big old Ettercap. He's got, like, look at that, gross spiders crawling out of him. He's disgusting and horrible and a terrifying monster for sure. And I gotta love him. My goodness. The models, some of the sculpts are really imaginative, well-designed models. I can't believe that guy there. $1.20 amongst all the other $1.20 models. This is a great bargain. All right, kids, we're starting to get to the end, and we are given this really interesting, I don't know, Warforged fantasy robot killer assassin type monstrosity. He's already somebody dead there on his base. He looks dangerous and robotic and menacing and imaginative, and some of the models are quite imaginative, like this big old, I don't know if it's a giant berserking bugbear prisoner or a demon of some sort, or an ape monster that's been broken its chains. But good lord, what a dangerous foe that is. And now the penultimate model of this whole set, the second last one, and probably my favorite. Again, super imaginative, yet slips right into the fantasy worlds without too much confusion. This wildly strange, terrifying mushroom man. This is the single scariest mushroom man I have ever seen. And it's all in this fantastic set. So this, again, this mushroom man, you know, aggregated with all the other models, was $1.20. A fantastic bargain. And now, on to the last model. And here we arrive at the last... Here we arrive at the very last model of the set. And he is the devil himself. My goodness, what an enormous model. A great big demon of the pit, a Balor, Balrog, badass, hell fiend, pit devil, whatever you want to call him. He is huge and terrifying. And this model alone in Reaper Bones or a Nolzar model would be like, you know, $20, $30, $40. And from GW, it would be, you know, better quality, more elaborate, but it would also be $120. So him coming in at, well, $1.20, really, that is a incredible bargain, and he really amps up the quality of this bargain. A lot of these big sets of cheap miniatures do not include enormous demons like this. So I gotta say, this was one fantastic deal.
And there you have it, 68 remarkably good miniatures for just 79 Canadian dollars, taxes and shipping included. That is one hot bargain, and it ain't gonna last. Jeff just rented Venice, and now he's got to move some stock. So if you can afford it and need a bunch of quality miniatures, most of which are monsters, I would say get this set. I highly recommend it. I'm going to put a couple of non-affiliate links in the description. I'm not making a dime from this. I just had to let you know about this hot bargain before it's gone. Now, let's catch ourselves a monster fight. Tonight's match features a pair of cheap path miniatures. The first is the Mighty Executioner! In his spare time, he likes to cosplay as Dr. Manhattan. Burst this very angry red devil! Ancient and immensely powerful, he is cursed with a toddler's patience. Who will be victorious? Let us consult the old bones. Ooh, ouch! Oh, somebody's gonna take a lot of punches. Blue! Once again, the Bluesman has defeated the devil! Hey, hello. I would just like to take a moment to thank my 2 channel members, Mark and Lauren. Your support is always appreciated. Now, if you want to support the Monster Painter and become a member and gain access to monthly members-only monster fights and early access to Monster Painter videos and digital badges, just hit that button down there and it'll all be yours. And maybe you want merch. Well, hey, I got merch on that merch shelf just down there. Look at this. You could have a Monster Painter apron and keep your clothes nice and clean while you paint. I am still working away on those Wild Spire miniatures. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and ring the bell! Ring the bell!
You are watching Les the Monster Painter.